What's going on, guys? It's Childish back at it again. We are bringing you the sixth episode of the Critical Thinking with Childish series. This one is going to be about a couple of topics. Um, the survivability aspect of Dungeon and optimizing your team for survivability, and then showcasing what, in my opinion, is probably one of the best, if not the best, farmable unit for dungeon running. Okay, so let's get right into it. Um, I'm gonna just do a little gameplay here, run it one time, um, just to kind of showcase my current team. So for those that have seen, I think I put out a video a while back that has my dungeon team and what I'm running. I think I talked about what I was going to run, in the future, and I'm just about there. Still working on the runes and whatnot, but I'm gonna go ahead and explain to you for those that don't know, what the team breakdown is. So, first off, Jameer. Very fortunate to have him, a 5-star natural monster wind that provides me an attack debuff, AoE. Not completely AoE, kind of a random attack, but his accuracy skill is up in the percentage of chance for him to land it. So it is fairly accurate. It attacks 3 times, and for 2 out of those 3 times, I would say, or 2 out of the 3 units normally get hit. But sometimes I get lucky and I get all 3. All right. Obviously, the third skill, which is going to be his, bread and butter, is the reset. And this is huge, obviously, for the dungeon, because of some of these units having very, very strong skills, but unfortunately they have um, they have what is it? They have particular skills that have such long cooldowns, but particular skills that just provide more survivability. So being able to reset those every 5 turns is huge, but I currently have them set up for a violent energy setup. Basically, a violent setup. I can care less what the second rune set is, as long as it provides survivable type of substats for him, defense, hit points, whatever. I'm gonna be good with that. All right. Moving on. I know you guys have seen the episode 4 of the Critical Thinking, talking about Shannon and the changes that I made. She is the ultimate support unit, right? She has the glancing hit, she has the AoE slow, and she has her attack and defense buff. So what did I do? I made her despair energy to provide stuns, as well as a little bit more hit points for survivability. So why is this the case? As I explained before, utilizing a 2-star support unit allows you to skill him up very, very quickly. And with her particular AoE slow, a maxed out skill up allows her to do the slow within 3 turns, or do it every 3 turns. So adding a what is it a slow to that, or excuse me, a despair to that, I'll be able to utilize the AoE's stun chance, and and with retrospect to other control based units, their type of control attacks are generally 4 to 6 turns with a reset. So it definitely comes in handy, especially with a speed leader that increases that cooldown, essentially, in theory, because of the fact that he can reset every so many turns. So it is 3 turns, but I can theoretically bring it down a little bit more on average because of the reset. Just kind of depends on where the debuff falls. Next up, you got Hoa that has the passive, the increasing of the attack gauge, and then has a chance, 20% chance to attack again. So depending on what she's using, whether it's the constant damage or the attack slow, either way you look at it, it's going to be beneficial just because of the passive attack gauge decrease. So I got her, about a month, maybe a month and a half ago and realized, how basically strong she is. And so I try to utilize, see what I can find to add in my team, that kind of mimics that skill and whatnot. So moving on to my next unit, Kaz. Kaz is the water samurai. So we haven't seen a lot of people, with these yet because they're still fairly new. But for those that don't know what it does, it has a defense breaker, which is why he's the replacement for Rogue. But in addition to the defense breaking, he has a third skill that allows him to reset the attack gauge by 100%. 2 hits, 50% each. If they both land, it'll be 100%. So, why is this important? Going back to my first video of critical thinking, attack gauge is the only way to essentially reset the boss. So if you can slow him from attacking, that allows you to heal more, that allows you to DPS more, that allows you to get your buffs up, to provide more survivability. That's really the end goal, to be able to live long enough to take him down. You will notice that I'm not running Lucian. Lucian is a great unit, but he is built for damage and he is not built for survivability. So yes, he can speed up, clearing out the, first couple of rounds and getting to the boss. But that being said, the chances are, by taking AoEs and whatnot, he's not going to, he's not a unit that you're going to try to spec for, survivability. Even if you were to put a couple energy runes on him, that's not going to be enough to outlast some of the damages from these B7 to B10 dungeons that I'm trying to run. So, that being said, I can definitely utilize them in certain zones that require some kind of hit point to serve. But at the end of the day, I'm looking for the overall, well-rounded team that will help me get the job done. So, rewinding or fast-forwarding, I guess you could say, back to Kaz. The combination of Kaz and Hua, in addition to the reset of Jameer, allows me to get a lot more attacks, debuffs, heals, everything per round. And again, why is this important? Survivability. My goal is to stay alive as long as I can. So 2 people that can decrease the attack gauge, that's huge. All right. So moving on to the last unit, I'm using Amon. Why? Because he's the only real healer that I find, despite Lulu that I have, is basically strong enough to get the job done, by himself. In addition to that, why do I choose him over Lulu? Because Lulu is extremely strong. He provides the ability of provoking, and I have pointed out, I believe once or twice, but if I haven't, provoking, and I think this is going to be my another video here, but provoking is probably one of the most underrated skills of this game. Remember, my goal is survivability, and with survivability, or with controlling aspects comes survivability, because if you can control the damage of which certain units, or the damage of which comes at you, which unit takes it, you in turn control the amount of damage that that comes your way, and allows you to control, how do I say, like, it allows you to relocate the damage where you want it to, essentially. So no matter what team you have, you're always gonna have 1 or 2 units that, regardless of what they provide, they're not going to have that tanky, high defense, high hit point kind of setup, because they're not built like that. Okay, we got units built for attack, hit points, defense, support, whatever the case may be. So no matter what, you're always going to have a random run where it won't be successful, because somebody will randomly die early on. I learned that early on with Lucian, and that's why he's not in my particular setup. So by being able to have that ability of provoking, in addition to group heals, that provides me the last little bit of control that I need, along with the despair runes, to really take advantage of the road to the units. Provoking is not going to work with these particular dungeons, the giant dungeon, the Hall of Magic dungeon, and whatnot, but they will provide some extra utility in the Tower of Ascensions. And if you guys know the Tower of Ascensions, those units can be stunned. Those units can be provoked. Okay, with the exception of, I think, the boss levels, that those units might not be. I might be wrong. I might be forgetting, but I thought I was pretty sure that those can do it as well. So that is why my particular team is set up the way it is. All right. So the last part of this video, I'm going to showcase a unit that, in my opinion, is another one of those, oh, I know he's good kind of units, but I rarely see him in a team. Rarely see him in a team. Okay. I mean, I see people talk about him trying to farm him, but I rarely see him utilized, at the 5-star level with, great runes and this and that, whatever. So since our goal is to have a type of some kind of a slow unit, some type of attack unit, some type of, attack, debuff, defense debuff, damage, mitigation via attack and defense buffs, provoking, we want all of those, attributes that is in my units. But in order to optimize your team, you need to find the units that provide the most of those attributes together on one unit that provides the most utility. Everybody knows about Shannon, but today is not going to be Shannon that I'm talking about. I'm talking about this lovely unit down here, which should be, in my opinion, for those that are focused right now on dungeons and, Tower of Ascension, dungeons, whatever. This should be one of the units that they go for, no questions asked. The reason why I don't have this one level up is because I was fortunate enough to get a few units on my team that basically cover all the bases on this particular setup. But had I not had a few units, I would have gone this route. So the unit is, I bet you all can guess, boom, the Light Vagabond. Okay, Childish. Why is this so important? Well, for those that don't realize, the Light Vagabond provides a chance to decrease the attack's defense, or the target's defense, the target's attack power, and provides 15% mitigation. Okay, now keep in mind this passive is not going to stack with like 5 Vagabonds or whatever, but this passive will work with Shannon's buff, with Megan's buff, okay, with their attack and defense buff. So that essentially is a lot of mitigation overall. And then why is this still, so important to, keep in mind? Because again, he doesn't get the mitigation, but his other allies do. It's just you don't see a lot of units that have, all of these 3 attributes. You got a couple of them out there. Bernard that has a group attack speed and attack defense debuff. You got the Nine-Tailed Fox, Wind, that has attack defense slow buff. But as far as being able to utilize a typical 2-star, a 3-star unit like this that has 2-star fodder, that allows you to maximize on his abilities. So not only is he farmable, he's easily able to be maxed. So he kind of relates towards Shannon. He's that next best thing to Shannon because he's one of those units that you could take advantage of his skills truthfully because he is easily able to provide, easily able to max. So if you take a look here, 40%, then 20%, 60% harmful effect rate. So 60% chance in addition to the 40% chance. Essentially, if you max them out, you should have a 100% activation rate. That being said, you got 2 different types of activations. You got the chance for your attack to activate, but then there's a second trigger that allows your opponent to resist it. So depending on how good your accuracy is, in retrospect to his resistance, will determine if the unit lands. So again, why is this important? Really, really nice to have this unit? His awakening ability. Okay, his awakening ability provides the 25% accuracy that you will need to make sure that these debuffs land. Okay. Moving on here, he has a 30% chance to decrease the attack power for 2 turns. Okay, used every 3 turns. His skill allows it to bring it up to 50% with the cooldown time, brought down to 1. So every 3 turns he can use it. Again, it's not as much as this defense, right? But it's still an opportunity to provide some kind of attack power debuff. And I value this more than the defense one because, again, that I'm focused on one thing here, and that's survivability. So by putting the attack defense or the attack debuff on, that allows you to take more AoEs, which is obviously the majority of the damage that comes from your fights or whatnot. Depending on what boss you're fighting, you'll get a little bit of AoE stuns or hit point disturbs from other things, but for the most part, the majority of your damage is going to come from the main boss. So to have this opportunity to have it on is huge. Okay, and then of course we already know about the passive. Very, very good to add. Definitely a viable choice. So if you don't have one, you better log on tomorrow, because I'm making this video Saturday, November 1st. Log on tomorrow and try to get yourself one, because this is just one of those units that needs to be gotten if you don't have other units that have those survivability type utility units. So that is it for this video. Stay tuned for future videos for critical thinking. I would like to open this up to you guys as subscribers. I find that every so often I really think of some ideas that I feel comfortable expressing my feelings toward, that I feel comfortable talking about, because I feel like my knowledge is okay. That being said, I don't know everything, obviously, so I would like to learn more, and so I would like to open it up to you guys and ask you, what is it that you would like to talk about in these critical thinking videos? And if I will do my best to collect the information for you, do the research, do the studies, or do the, just practice, run it, and, kind of get, my own personal feedback from my own personal experience. Do it on a practical matter. But, hopefully, what you can, what your questions are, I can provide you the answer. And if not, I will definitely turn to, the people that I know that are well educated on this game. So that is it for this video, guys. I want to thank you all for your support. I hope this was a little bit helpful. I'm sure that there was a lot of redundant talk or whatever as far as what you guys already know about how to setting up a team, but just some things to think about, when setting up your team. And trying to figure out why, regardless of how many strong units you may have, why is it that you're just having a hard time, consistently killing the zones? Every once in a while you could set up a team to take a knockout a zone, though, but every 3 or 4 fights, you randomly die again, and why is that? What is happening there? And so that's what I'm trying to focus on here: survivability, consistency of beating these dungeons, because they cost so much money. So we need to focus on what we can do to keep an effort in getting the job that we need to get done. Okay? That's it. I'm going to cut it right there. Probably could have cut it about 2 minutes ago, but you know me. I like to ramble. All right. Take care, guys.